Hello footballers, welcome to this video. If you don't already know me by now, my name's Dylan and I'm the strength and conditioning coach here for the Football Performance Programme. And in today's webinar we're going to be covering sleep performance and how using sleep can actually enhance your performance as a footballer, how to get a better night's sleep and why it's so important, and what are the negative impacts on getting poor quality sleep on a regular basis. So a lot of players have been asking me about this one, so I wanted to do a webinar on it to help with the quality of sleep you're getting and why not getting a good quality sleep can actually be pretty detrimental to your performance and even your health. So firstly, let's get into what poor sleep leads to. What are the negative impacts of getting poor quality sleep on a regular basis? So number one, which we'll go into in the next slide in a bit more detail, is higher risk of injury. It's drastically increased whenever you're not getting enough hours of sleep, but we'll go into that in the next slide. Reduce reaction time, which, as you know, as a footballer on the pitch, you need to have good reaction time in order to perform better, get the ball quicker, whatever the case may be on the pitch. So reducing your reaction time isn't going to be beneficial. Also as well, increased stress and anxiety. So there's multiple studies that suggest and prove that getting poor quality sleep on a regular basis can have a negative impact on our mental health and lead to mental health disorders such as heightened anxiety, depression, stuff like that. So it's very important from a mental viewpoint that we're actually getting a good quality night's sleep. Next up is low energy levels. We all know what it's like to get a poor night's sleep. You're not going to be fresh the next day, you're not going to feel good, you're not going to feel energized, you're not going to want to even go out and train and perform because you're just so tired. That's what comes with it. And obviously as well, decreased mental performance. So you're not going to be at your freshest up top here, which is going to lead to poor decision making, lower levels of concentration. So it's important that we're getting good quality sleep in order to not fall into these traps and fall into these impactful things. So this is the one that I really wanted to touch on. I talked about in the previous slide. It's a study done basically on the risk of injury to athletes who got good quality sleep versus poor quality sleep. Not so much quality sleep, but amount of hours slept. So as you can see at the bottom, you'll have the amount of hours each athlete slept per night. Okay, and it works from 5 all the way up to 9 hours per night. And as you can see on the left hand side, this is the chance of injury percentage. So the higher this percentage is, the more likely that athlete was to get injured, or one of the athletes to get injured. So as you can see, athletes who slept around 9 hours per night drastically reduced their injury risk, and their risk of injury was around just below 20%. Then you move up to 8 hours per night, which had roughly a 33% chance of injury. So it's jumped up, it's nearly doubled what it was previous just by getting 1 hour extra or less in night. And then we're going to start moving into the lower stages. Okay, so 7 and below. And athletes who slept 7 hours a night had an injury risk of just over 60%. Now that's very high. Now what's very interesting here is once we get down to 6 hours per night, injury risk is up all the way to 75%. That is pretty mind-blowing if you ask me. Just how much more likely you are to get injured if you're sleeping 6 or less hours per night. It's nuts. I know that it says 5 hours here and it comes back down. That's just a bit of an anomaly. I'd say 6 or less hours is showing just how much more likely you are to get injured. So that's a pretty clear indicator of why we should be focusing on getting so much better quality sleep and more sleep per night, especially as an athlete. Your body's going to be under so much more stress and demand, so it's important that we're using these recovery tools such as our sleep in order to recover better so that we can handle the stress and grow from the adaptation of training. Okay, Next up, like basically we as a culture, as humans, have forgotten how to sleep. Like, we're the most underslept generation of all time. Just thinking back how far human existence expands, we are by far the most underslept. Okay, and this is down to things such as screens, technology, shift work, supplements such as caffeine and stuff like that. Like, it's never been easier, it's never been harder to get a good quality night's sleep. And what we need to do is we need to get back to basics and learn how to get a good night's sleep again, because I know so many people, and so do I personally from time to time, struggle with getting a good night's sleep. So what are some strategies that we can use to actually get a good night's sleep and increase our sleep performance? So what can we do? Here are a few suggestions that I'm going to run through with you. So this is what you're going to do to improve your quality of sleep. If you can, have a regular sleep pattern. And what we mean by this is you wake up at the same time and you go to bed at the same time. What this is going to do, it's going to regulate your circadian rhythm, which is a fancy way of saying your body's going to know, due to the time of day, that it's time to go to bed. Okay, so if you go to bed at the same time every night, your body's going to know that it's time to go to bed, and you're going to fall asleep very quickly. Okay, same thing as with waking up. You'll probably almost wake up at the same time naturally, because your body's so used to getting that amount of sleep and doing that on a regular basis. Okay, but still set your alarm just in case. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. Like, you can see from the study before, like, just how much is going to decrease your risk of injury. I honestly, I think for everyday people, 7 to 8 hours is okay. But if you're an athlete and you're training 5 to 6 times a week, you need to be pushing between 8 and 9. Okay, because you're putting on so much more demand and stress in your body than a regular everyday person who maybe trains 3 times a week, if even. Do you know what I mean? So it's important that we're pushing for those higher numbers of sleep. Also as well, keep technology out of the bedroom. This is one that I live by and I have for a long time. I don't bring my phone into the bedroom. I charge it in my office and I leave it in there with the alarm on it. Okay. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I know some people like having this, maybe even like your PlayStation, Xbox. Get it all out of your room. You don't need it in there. Have your bedroom as a place where you go to sleep. As soon as I go into my bedroom, I put my head down and that's all I do. I go to sleep in there. Okay. I don't want to have any sort of stress or association or excitement in that through like technology and stuff like that, because as soon as my head hits that pillow, I want to be able to go to sleep. Also as well, what you can do is relax for an hour before bed. So de-stimulate, get into that parasympathetic system instead of sympathetics, where you want to start relaxing the body and unwinding. So things that you could do is, what I like to do personally, hot shower before bed. Something you could do as well is read a book instead of watching TV or looking at screens. Read a book. You could do some meditation, breath work, loads of stuff you can do out there. Obviously as well, get comfortable. Make sure that the bedroom is a nice comfortable place. If you can, have a good quality mattress. Avoid caffeine, cigarettes and alcohol. Obviously these are things that are going to have a high impact to sleep. We're pretty clear, like no one should be really smoking on this program, but maybe have a drink from time to time. Okay, like drinking is going to have a really poor effect on your sleep. That's why like hangovers feel so bad, is because alcohol really interrupts your deep REM sleep, and you don't get into a deep quality of sleep. It may feel like it when you're pissed, but you really don't get into high quality sleep whenever you're pissed. So try and avoid alcohol, no nightcaps or anything like that. But the main thing would probably be for us guys is caffeine. Okay. And what I suggest around caffeine is have a cut-off time in the mid-afternoon, around 1 to 2 p.m, so that your body has enough time to get rid of the caffeine circulating the body, because caffeine can stay in the system for quite a long time. So we don't want to be drinking caffeine after like 1 to 2 p.m, because it's going to have a negative impact on our sleep. Also as well, avoid napping if possible. Like, I'm not against napping completely. If you are up early in the morning and you want to take a quick power nap in the afternoon, what I would suggest, same thing with caffeine, don't do it late in the day because it's going to affect your quality of sleep later on. You're not going to be able to get to sleep. But if it's like a 20 to 30 minute power nap in the middle of the day, absolutely, I don't see anything wrong with that. There's actually good studies to suggest that napping can have a positive impact whenever it comes to performance if you're training or playing later on in the day. Don't go to bed hungry or too full, so don't be eating too close to bedtime because obviously what's happening there is your body's going to be working overtime in order to digest that food, which is going to negatively impact the quality of your sleep, and it's going to make it harder for you to fall asleep as well. So what I would say, like, don't be eating maybe 2 hours towards bedtime, and try to cut off hydration stuff as well if possible. So don't be drinking too much water close to bedtime because you're going to be up and down throughout the middle of the night going to the toilet. So try and do that as well, like wean yourself off of water later on in the day, have it earlier in the day. Also as well, get some sunlight during the day. So what necessarily we mean by getting more sunlight is we're going back to circadian rhythm, which is basically our body's internal clock, okay? And if you're getting direct sunlight into the eyes and stuff like that, it's gonna help regulate your body, like with what time of day it is. Naturally, as human beings, we like to be awake during the day and asleep during the night. So if we're getting sunlight in, then it's gonna make our bodies aware that it's daytime, so that whenever we come round to nighttime, it's going to be easier to fall asleep because our body's internal clock will know that we've moved from the middle of the day to night, and that's just setting your circadian rhythm up. Something as well, limit fluids. We've already talked about that 1 hour before bed. Don't be drinking a lot of water right before bedtime, because this is going to have you up in the middle of the night going to the toilet. And seek medical attention if you regularly don't sleep well. And what I would say about anybody who's considering that, I don't think you need to be going for sleeping pills or anything like that. It's just working on the suggestions that we've put forward there, and these will be very helpful. So a few more things as well. Make sure your bedroom is a nice dark place, okay? Get blacked out curtains. If you can't do anything to do with light travelling in, get yourself an eye mask. I sleep with an eye mask, put it over, make sure it's a good one, nice and comfortable. If you have to look at screens later on during the day, like TV, or you have to do a bit of late work, or you're catching up on work or anything like that, I suggest getting blue light glasses. You can get them on Amazon for like £10. What they do is they block out, I can't remember exactly, basically the lights from the screen that interfere with sleep. So if you're looking at a laptop or a phone, like, you're better off getting those blue light glasses. On top of that as well, make sure that your bedroom's a cool place. If it's too warm, you're going to find it harder to fall asleep because our bodies naturally like to decrease our internal temperature before we fall asleep. We like to have it a wee bit more chilled as we fall asleep. It doesn't mean we want the room freezing, but we do want it cooler. I'm not sure of the exact temperature of the room. I'll look it up, but yeah, we want to keep it cool, dark and quiet on top of that, and no distractions in there. So yeah, basically that's it. One last point, if you've got a child, just forget about getting a good night's sleep, because me personally, I have an 11-month child at home, and it can be a struggle at times. So for any parents out there, like, what I would suggest is just trying to get a routine around the child and get them into routine, and try and stick to your other things as well. So whenever you're getting into bed, or make sure that you can have all those things that we've suggested already. So for the amount of sleep you do get, it is quality, and it's going to help the child sleep as well, obviously going through those things too. So yeah, just do your best with it. I know that sometimes you're not everybody in here, you're always not going to get a quality night's sleep. Like, everybody is going to have a poor night's sleep from time to time, but what we want to do is try and optimize our sleep quality as much as possible when we can. And there is no reason that anybody here can't go about improving the quality of their sleep. Maybe it's a small thing, maybe it's just getting a better nighttime routine. Maybe it's just getting the phone out of the bedroom. There's so many things. Like whenever you're going to sleep, realistically, whenever your head hits that pillow, you should be asleep within 10-15 minutes. And if it's taking longer than that, then there's something interrupting that, and we need to look into that as well. So hope this video was helpful. There's definitely a lot of things that have really helped me in it, but we're always working to be better. We also know that getting a good night's sleep isn't always the case, but what we need to do is try and optimize it as much as possible so that we can perform at our best, we can feel at our best. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any feedback, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear your own opinions, and love to hear even what you like to do to help increase the quality of your sleep, or what your bedtime routines are. So all the best, guys. Thanks for watching, and speak soon.